Hi friends! So it is Caleb's birthday and I am going to be extra this year in making his cake. Yes, so the same sweater, and that is because it's still technically the same day. I know that this is going to take me a little bit of time, and I wanted to break it up over 2 days. Plus, I wanted to allow a couple different stages for cooling. And so I want to take my time because there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and I'm like crazy nervous about this process. I am going to attempt to make an island cake for Caleb. And just as a quick background as to what put this idea in my head, outside of looking for new things to constantly do in the kitchen and explore creativity with food and how we enjoy it and create it, so Caleb's first, how do I phrase this? My first celebration of Caleb's birthday, I was still clawing my way out of recovering from a period of homelessness, and I had just made a big decision that seemed to be backfiring for me financially, and I was worried about some things, but also wanting to be present. And to make a long story short, I wanted to experiment with baking, and I started what became a several-month ordeal of trying to perfect a chocolate cake recipe with peanut butter. And I made this chocolate cake with peanut butter for Caleb's first birthday, and he was really sweet and polite and was like, "Oh yeah, this is great." And what I later learned a couple months later is that it wasn't his preference, and it eventually became something he did enjoy as I got better at refining what we both enjoyed from this particular type of cake. And then I learned that his cake preference was Jello cake, and just like simple strawberry Jello and like a yellow cake. And that was what his mom made him for his birthday and what he always looked forward to. And so between these two ideas, I actually came across this recipe or this idea last year while I was making what was like a homemade cupcake cake for his birthday. And I've been sitting on this idea for a year, and I'm gonna give it a go today. So my chocolate cake recipe is relatively simple. It's just it's baking flour, baking soda, baking powder, iodized salt, a little Himalayan salt, and I'm trying to think, egg, stale coffee, orange zest, and citrus extract. And so I've just made a super basic sheet of chocolate cake, and now I'm going to test my luck with my first From my understanding, this needs to be slightly smaller than the base of the pan. And it doesn't have to be exact, but I think we have a good base. Oh no, I've already forgotten which is the top and which is the bottom to this. Classic gay move. Alright, so I've reoriented myself with the pan. Now I need to cut out my second layer, and I'm gonna rough that out real quick. Gonna set this up here. bring my pan. And I'm gonna struggle opening a jar of peanut butter. I don't think it has to look pretty. So I'm just going to put down enough peanut butter to hold my base in place. And then I am going to fill my layers with peanut butter. Now here's a little bit of the fun part, and I'll have to get a close-up of what I am doing here. Now you're supposed to just shave down roughly, you know, the idea of what a peak of a mountaintop looks like. And again, it doesn't have to be pretty because everything's just going to get coated into a ganache type of layer anyway. And so it's really up to you what this current phase looks like. I think the best part about this is going to be the fact that there are leftover scraps to pick at. So this is roughly what this looks like right now. And I am going to stick this in the freezer to chill it. Here we are, day 2, and I had nightmares about this last night. I kept thinking that the gelatin wasn't going to set and it was going to not be cooked inside or baked inside, even though I have already know I baked it. So I have my water going for the gelatin. I think I'm going to work on painting some detail on the top, and I'll zoom in for that. But I'm excited and nervous because to me the gelatin feels like I feel like the gelatin is like the biggest thing here. It's either going to all absorb into the cake and deflate down, and then there's going to be like no illusion of water. And I'm so nervous about it. So, no more putzing around on being nervous about it. I'm just going to put my head down and get to work. All right, so there's about 2.5 cups of water with about 5 ounces of sugar and 2 teaspoons of lime juice, which is the part that is making me the most nervous. I'm going to I'm going to bring this together to dissolve the sugar. Now I ended up adding just 1 single drop of teal food coloring, and I don't think I'm going to press my luck with it and making it too dark. All right, so this is one of the parts I am really nervous about, and it's because I have never worked with a spring back pan. I don't even know, I'm clearly using the wrong name for it too. This is my first go around, so big learning curve today. And the few times that I tried to play around with this when I didn't have a cake on the base, it was a struggle. It was like I was able to get part of it in, but not all of it. So let's just pray a minute. Huh. Okay. So I'm clearly complaining about nothing. But the other aspect is I am paranoid that this is going to leak. So from what I understand, this is a tape and cellophane situation around the pan. Okay, so, all right, let me put the cap back on my vegetable oil before I elbow it, and it goes everywhere. And find the end of my tape to hold it in place. Okay, so, I'm gonna put this back in the fridge, and I'm going to start to work on the gelatin part of this. Okay, so to distract myself from the idea that that gelatin is leaking all throughout our fridge, I'm going to distract myself with prep some of the decorations, the detail of the island cake by just some plain Maria cookies. And I'm obviously going to make a big mess with it. And then a little bit went a long way with the teal food coloring, so I'm a little bit nervous about this. So it's just 1 drop of green, and then 1 green here, and then maybe yellow, and if that's too lime greeny, maybe we'll mute it down with some white. and one that's just plain for sand. So now I'm just gonna hang out and pray that my fridge isn't covered in gelatin, and I will come back in a couple hours. Here we are several hours later, because I'm neurotic and I am convinced that if I rush this and I open it up, it's going to spill everywhere. But there was just minimal leakage. Typical. Seems real predictable. Let me bring this closer. That seems promising, right? It seems like it's set. I'm in my pajamas. I'm super comfy. Things are flowing nice. It's going to be relaxing. Everything's going to work out super positive. And I'm just going to open it up. And okay. All right. So, okay. Everything's fine. I need to just, chill out a little bit. No way. It is so clean and it is so nice. It's set up. Okay, so it looks so nice. I can't believe, oh my gosh, I wish you guys could see this. It looks super lame right now, but I can't believe it worked. No way. Okay, so now I'm super stoked. I cannot wait to share this with him. Okay, well, before I start gloating too much, let's decorate it and see what it ends up looking like. Is it going to be Stuart a decent, or should I call Nicole Breyer an audition for Nailed It? You guys, I wish I was better at lighting, so you could actually see how wonderful this is. We're gonna pretend that white spot isn't there, okay? Great, okay, I'm glad we all agree on that. And we're just moving right along. And as you can see, only the one mountain is cold enough for snow, but you don't have to descend that far between where it is and where greenery is thriving. But I am so happy with myself. You guys, so I made this, and my mouth is a little green, but that's okay. I made this. I am so excited for what I was able to create at a first go around, and I've moved the sand and the tide has come in, and it's a little messy now, but it was pretty earlier, so we're gonna pretend we're looking at the prettier version. And I can't wait to share this with my husband. And yeah, so if you are at home and you want to try something new in your kitchen, just go for it. It could look like a disaster. It could end up surprising you. Like this surprised me at how well it turned out. I literally had nightmares last night about it being a disaster, and it's relatively on par with what I was going for. Okay, so here is my birthday island cake for my husband, and that's all. So if you are new here, please subscribe because I'd love to see you come back and share more with you in the future. And if you have already subscribed, it's great to see you again. Thank you for coming back. Remember to keep growing from where you are, and I will share more with you soon. Cheers. But, you guys, I made this. Did not seem to go as far. I wonder if that was caught. There's probably green food coloring all over my face now. Cake is due. I think that if I was being extra, I would have put like gummy sharks in here.